Hey, John.
I was just really going to ask you about, you mentioned the importance of the atmosphere tomorrow night. Just how important is it, going to be tomorrow night? I think your connection with the fans has been something quite exceptional. Must give you a great sense of pride throughout the Boston City.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's made a difference. I think, even if you're at the game at the weekend, whenever we've sort of been chasing victory or being behind, there hasn't been a real sort of anxiety in the stadium. It's been a real sort of push on the players. We can do this. We've done it before. And I think it started, with our second or third game against Sheffield United here, when we won really late. Then there was the Liverpool game, and it just built from there. And it's been an important part, I think, for us in the sort of stage we are as a team. If you're sort of fighting our supporters as well, trying to get them to get behind us, it would have made the season a lot more challenging than what it was. So, and it'll be important tomorrow night. It absolutely will be, because, against City, there's going to be times when, you're going to have to defend, you're going to have to suffer, you're going to have to, work hard without the ball, and they're going to put you under a lot of pressure. And during those moments, and, if we've got the crowd behind us, we can ride them, then we can have our own moments. We always finish games strong. We're a fit side, particularly when we're going down our end in the second halves. There aren't many games when we haven't finished strong, and tomorrow night's going to be important.
I know it's difficult to compare previous meetings, but your game was 6-8 was one of the best games of the season.
Yeah.
And I mean, the astonishing game must give you hope that you can attack them, expose favourites if they have.
Yeah, look, I think, if you look at the top three in our games against them, they've all been, crackers. We haven't ended up on the winning side, I think, only once, but we've taken it to them, whether it was Arsenal away, City away, Liverpool away. We obviously got blown away in the first sort of hour of the game, but we still hung in there at the end and made it exciting. And even the Arsenal game here, again, we were sort of pressing towards the end. So I think the attitude we've taken into those games is, as I said, to not shy away from the challenge. It's easy to go in there and sort of try and keep things tight and maybe get a draw or, even win 1-0. But I don't think that shows where you're at. I think what shows you're at is when you go out there and you try and meet them playing your own football. And, we've obviously haven't conquered that part of it yet, but it's given us some belief that, if we keep improving, then, we've got a shot at knocking them off at some point.
Matt?
How quickly can Spurs close the gap to the gap like Warrior City?
Yeah, really. Hard to say, man. I mean, we're talking, 20-odd points or something, it's like, that's a fair chunk of, it's not, you're not saying, it's 3 positions on the table. You're looking at the points tally and you're going, well, there's a significant gap, not just with us, but at the same time, that's us at kind of the beginning of the process. That's us at hopefully, base camp in terms of creating a foundation and how quickly you get there. Again, I think if you put time frames on it, you either, putting too much pressure on yourself to achieve something that's difficult, or you're limiting yourself if you say it's, 5 years down the line, when why should it be 5 years down the line or 3 years down the line? Why can't it be next year? So, my belief with all these things is it's not about sort of bridging the gap. It's about improvement in yourselves. If we can be a better team next year than we were this year, logically you say we get closer. How much closer will depend on how much better we are, but putting time frames on it, I just don't think it's going to help us both, if I put unrealistic ones or even try and put some sort of logical sort of time frame around it.
Tom?
Following on from Matt's question, really, I mean, you talked about City's size of the squad last week. They seem to have 2 great players in every position. I know before you said there's still a lot of business to be done with someone, not just 1 or 2 top players. I mean, that kind of way you want to be at with the way you play.
Well, I think you have to. I think if you look at the top teams, that's part of the process. Especially as you know, we haven't had European football this year. If you've got European football as well, it's impossible to try and maintain a level of performance in the Premier League and play multiple competitions unless you have a strong squad. But that's probably the biggest challenge, because that can't be done in sort of 1 or 2 or 3 windows unless you've already got a real strong sort of base to start with. because it takes time. Players evolve, some move out because, by the time you hit the sweet spot of saying, all right, we're ready for success, even some of the ones who are key now may not be there. And so it's a constant reinforcement of your squad and trying to fill those gaps in. And, like I said, we've had 2 windows to kind of start the process. It's going to take multiple windows for us to get to that point. If we get our windows right, and I think we've been really good so far. I think the business we've done so far has been excellent. But we're going to have to be that good all the time, pretty much, if we're going to bridge that gap to Matt's point quicker.
On the subject of goal scoring defenders, Nicky and Pedro, Gvardiol, when he signed for City, everyone knew what amazing talent as a centre-back defender he was. But I don't think many saw him being the sort of regular goal scorer. It's been the last sort of 7 games. Both yourself and Pedro quite creative in the way that you look at players in a different way to everybody else. But did you see what's happened to him?
No, but I mean, look, if you're starting with fantastic footballers, it's a pretty good place to start. I've always felt that, that's, if you get the right kind of player, the right kind of mentality, then you're right. Everyone sees that in a different light. It's like a work of art, mate. We all have our own opinions of why it's good or why it's not good. So, but yeah, he's been outstanding. But like I said, you could see he was an outstanding footballer, both for his national team and obviously his club football. And again, I guess the beauty of being where City are at the moment, you don't have to force those things. They can almost happen organically. So he wasn't thrown in and said, you're going to play this way. You've almost seen him evolve, and they can do that because they've got the squad. Whereas for teams like us who are just beginning the process, we're kind of just going, guys get out there and sink or swim almost, whether that's Van der Ven or Destiny or Porro or Pape or Brennan Johnson. It's, we can't blood these guys over half a season and allow them to sort of get to grips with our game and the Premier League and all that. So that's where it becomes a little bit more challenging. Whereas I think when you've got a solid squad, you can bring guys in and you can allow them to sort of find their space a little bit more organically.
Just finding earlier, you said bragging rights are sort of meaningless to you at least. But for Tottenham, with the lack of trophies, as we all know, for the last 20 years or so, it's been one of their most sort of celebrated things is getting on over their rivals. I suppose, does the fact that you're sort of suggesting it to me suggest where you want to take this club, that it's beyond, having those kind of...
Okay, so I assume over the last... When was the last time the club won a trophy? 15?
2008.
Yeah. I suppose in these last 15 years, there's been years where Tottenham have had bragging rights, yeah? I've walked through the halls, mate. There's no bragging rights trophies in there. There's none. The pictures on the wall do not show players with a big sign saying we've got bragging rights. They've just got pictures of Bill Nicholson and the people who've actually achieved. And that's where I want to get us. And you know what? Funny thing is, if you win trophies, you tend to have bragging rights as well. So, and like I said, I just want to make sure that we stay clearly disciplined, focused on that. Look, it'd be easy for me to say that, just getting one over your rivals is most important, and you could do that and not win anything, and I feel great about myself, and maybe the fans feel good about me, but we can't be successful if that's our goal. Have real goals. The real goal is, like I said, success to me means trophies. And until we do that, the rest of it, we just got to make sure that we stay laser focused on, what we wanted to achieve.
Ed?
Hi, Ange. Just on one of the other summer songs you did mention before, James Maddison seems to be coming back into a bit of form, like quite well the weekend. Do you think he could be the key against City to sort of...
Yeah, definitely. He could be. Matters... Again, he's just had one of these kind of seasons like a lot of our guys when they were at their best. You could see just, how impactful they can be on a game of football. And I thought on the weekend especially, he was right back at it. He was, he was really creative. He was working hard. He looked fitter, He was a couple of runs he made where, they couldn't keep up with him, and that was him earlier in the year, and it's taken him a while to get back physically more than anything else to that level. And it's a big thing for footballers. I know we tend to focus on their technical ability, and especially for guys like Maddison, sometimes even they think that that's the most important part of the game. But if they're not physically right, especially in the Premier League, you just won't get away with it. And it's taken him a while to get back to that level because he missed so much football. And, in the meantime, it's fair to say probably he lost a bit of confidence along the way as well. But, I thought on the weekend he was, like I said, he was back to, the levels we saw earlier in the year. And when he's at those levels, he can be, he can hurt any team, with his creativity, his running, his ability to score goals, create goals. And, I think he'll be very important for us tomorrow night.
Has he got, sometimes to prove maybe to get an England squad, that's a real incentive for him?
Yeah, look, I'm sure it is. But again, that's where, even for him and for all our guys, you can't just turn it on because something is out there that you think is important. You have to do it all the time. That's all. These other things take care of themselves. You can't just say, well, I'm going to try real hard now because I want to get into the England team for the Euros. You've got to get into those kind of things, to achieve those things. You just got to do it consistently and focus on the day-to-day stuff. And like I said, in fairness to Matters, his training's been a lot stronger recently because he's been able to get out there every day and train hard. And I thought we saw the benefits of that on the weekend.